USA pushed their way into people's hearts and imaginations during the World Cup campaign, and perhaps no player truly stole the spotlight more than Saurabh Netravalkar. I've had the privilege of interviewing Saurabh for various pieces of content over the last few years, and he's graciously joining me again today. Saurabh, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Thanks for having me.
We followed your career here. Big Innings has, Emerging Cricket has. We followed your career for years. We always knew that you were as good as you showed that you were in the World Cup. So it was no surprise to us when you got those big wickets that you wanted to get Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. But I think it surprised them a little bit, although I think that they're also familiar with you. How you bowled to Virat Kohli in the past?
Um, I remember one game in 2009. I was playing for Air India. It was a corporate tournament. But I didn't bowl much though, like a few balls here and there. I vaguely remember. Rohit Sharma, I bowled a lot in the nets because he's from Mumbai. I used to practice a lot. Yeah, I bowled a lot at him. Those players, any top players, when as a youngster you get to bowl to a player who's that time representing the country at the senior level, it's a great opportunity. So I used to look up at these guys and always take it up as a challenge whenever they showed up for practice. So it was great learning for us.
As you know, we've talked about in the past, one of your former classmates when you were a kid was a teammate of mine here in Morrisville in the local league, Anirudh. He told me that some of your classmates and stuff used to say that about you too. Were you aware that people thought about you in that esteem when you were growing up?
Not much, but pool cricket and all, yeah, we used to play a lot. Yeah, it used to be nice.
You're the USA's leading wicket taker in your entire career. So your performance here didn't come out of nowhere. You've been establishing yourself as a world beater for quite some time. Over the last few years, we've had minor league here. We now have major league here. You were one of the top domestic performers. You were one of the top performers in general in Major League Cricket last season. And a lot of that was held in Dallas. Now, you went to Dallas for the World Cup. You guys played your two best games. In my opinion, those two games were the best games in the World Cup so far. The venue was beautiful. The wicket was fantastic. The facility was great. The cricket was excellent. You chased down a big total in the first game against Canada, and in the second game against Pakistan, obviously you won in a super over. Now, super overs don't happen too much in international cricket. We've seen them several times in minor league cricket here in the USA. Do you think that the minor league system that we have here in the USA, the frequency of the T20 that we play in minor league and in other competitions around the calendar, how much has that helped you as a T20 bowler?
Yeah, I think Major League, especially the first season, helped us a lot to sort of get used to playing with players of high caliber across the world in front of full packed crowds. Like you said, quality pitches. Dallas, Raleigh, North Carolina. It was an awesome first season. So that really boosted the confidence to sort of know that, yes, you can go and perform in front of a big crowd against top quality opposition. Secondly, minor league as well is a longer season, so you get to play cricket more often with reasonable amount of professional cricketers. So that's also a great opportunity for grassroots to play alongside the senior national players and the other professionals and sort of raise their bar. So definitely both have contributed towards the growth of the game. Another thing I'd like to add is there are these franchise tournaments that happen, all these open tournaments as well, which also have quality cricketers from all around. That also helps you, although they may not all be on quality pitches, but even that helps you stay in touch with that kind of professionalism. So it's definitely grown exponentially in the last 2 3 years, the exposure that we're getting to good quality cricket. And I hope that keeps growing. And that definitely contributed towards our players being better prepared for this world stage.
But now we've got Major League coming up. Now that you're back from the World Cup, and you're going to be playing in Morrisville and Dallas. These are two areas where you have a lot of history. I know for a fact that Morrisville community loves having you here. You've spent plenty of time here, especially around 2018, 2019, when this was kind of the unofficial home base for USA Cricket. But the community really embraced USA. So obviously, as the teams get their own venues, that's going to happen less and less that Morrisville is featured like this for this particular tournament. Did it feel special to you taking 6 wickets? You had the best figures in Major League last year in the whole league. You took 6 wickets in a game. I think it was San Francisco Unicorns that you were playing. You bowled Nicholas Puran at Morrisville at Church Street Park. You had some great performances in Morrisville. Does that feel like a special place, like an extra special place to you?
Yeah, Morrisville has definitely been special because I think my first T20 game for the US was in Morrisville in 2018. That's when I started playing for the US. The first ever tournament was in West Indies when we went for Super 50 in Antigua.
Right.
And we played in Antigua against South Africa this year as well. So that was also special for me. So both venues have been close to my heart. Morrisville, especially because of the community and the support that we've got. And I still remember the first series we had there, the qualifiers. There also, we had incidentally a super over.
Right. Yes, we did.
Yeah, it has fond memories there. I like the pitch there. I like to bowl there. And I'm glad that a good performance in MLC came there. I didn't expect it to happen, but once I got 1 or 2 wickets and the way the ball was swinging that day, so it was great to have executed in that venue. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the super over against Canada. That was followed by Stephen Taylor chasing 22 in the final over against Canada in the second game. Those were still two of the best games I've ever seen. Canada versus USA has produced some incredibly close games, especially in the T20 format over the years. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the players know each other so well. Players bat against each other and bowl against each other through various tournaments all the time in Canada and the USA. And it doesn't matter if you guys are Cricket World Cup League 2 and they're Division 3. It doesn't matter. The games are always really good. Does that feel like a real rivalry to you, the Canada USA games?
Yeah, for some reason, every time the games have been close, if you look at it, whenever I've played against them, even in the last T20 World Cup qualifiers, we had that super over. We played 2 super overs against them, I think.
Yeah.
And this game also in Dallas, it went right up to the wire. It was a high scoring game. Yeah, it's for some reason, I think we play a lot against each other and with each other as well, because some of our players also travel to Canada to play local league cricket. Their
Right.
players join in our minor league and our local cricket. So there's more camaraderie as well. And that makes it more fun when you play against each other. So on the field, you're fierce and you're battling it out. And off the field, you're friends. So it's like a good rivalry.
Do you have a favorite Canadian player?
Favorite Canadian player, I'd say I like that left arm fast bowler, Kaleem Sana. And I like Harsh Thakur. He's a good player.
Yeah, they're both excellent. Harsh missing out on the World Cup because of an injury situation with him. Yeah, that was a shame. That was a big loss for them because he's quite the cricketer. So we just talked about how those games are always close. The very first game of the World Cup, I said it so many times on this show. I thought it was so brilliant making that the first game of the World Cup because of how good these games are. You guys surrendered a pretty big total to them in the first innings. Now, we were used to seeing Dallas going at around a 170 par or so in Major League Cricket. So to see a 194 or 190 total put up by Canada in the first innings, obviously we hadn't seen a second innings in this World Cup yet, so we didn't know what to expect as fans. How were you guys feeling when you saw that wicket out there, and how were you feeling heading into the chase?
So I think when I bowled the first over, I knew like this is going to be a high scoring wicket. The ball was coming on nicely onto the bat. Outfield was quick, and under lights as well, the ball were like skids. So yeah, I mean 190, irrespective of how good the pitch is, you need to bat really well, and it took that. I think Jones played a blinder. Like he played, I think, the innings of his life, I could say, to get us through the line. With obviously partnerships from Andres Gauss, who played the sensible role initially. And it was a complete team effort, I think. Like everybody played their roles, but I think Jones played a blinder that day.
Yeah,
And
he
he
really
did that kind of a total.
Yeah, he really did play a blinder. We've seen that from Jones before. Now, USA didn't have a T20 international for a long span, for 18 months. So we didn't really get to see a lot of these guys, what they had learned in minor league, how from just playing as frequently as you do in minor league and playing in those USPLs and the US Opens and things like that. And I know a lot. Aaron has a reputation for playing slowly, but I had seen that from him before, and it was the 2022 minor league finals weekend. You guys were there. You were playing in the Pacific Conference final that weekend against Seattle. That was the season that Seattle beat you guys. You had won the season before. This was at Morrisville at Church Street Park. You had won the inaugural minor league championship. You were on the team with Unmukt Chand, and then the next season you made it to the conference final again, which is a difficult thing to do. This is a 26-team league. It's very difficult to make it all the way to finals weekend, by the way. But yes, that weekend, Aaron was amazing in both of those games. In the semifinal and in the final, he was absolutely fantastic. And so it wasn't such a shocker to me to see him perform like that. Did that surprise you how well he did in that game against Canada, or did you always know he kind of had that in him?
I mean, we always knew he has the shots because when he hits the shots, they're big sixes. Like if you see, even against West Indies, I think he hit a 100-meter six, which went out of the ground over the roof.
Yep.
We've seen him do that in Scotland as well, when he got 100 in Scotland. So that potential was definitely there. But obviously, once you have that intent, that I think that the fact that we were chasing that high of a score, and we started with that gear, and yeah, I mean, it was a treat to watch that innings. Like I think that was like I said, it was the innings of his life. I think I've seen him play best. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
massive that day.
yeah, they were massive. And then the following game against Pakistan, you were great. Honestly, in that game, I can pick out moments of that game where everyone contributed right from the start. Stephen Taylor taking that amazing catch. And I thought we'd be talking about this catch. Like, if USA wins the game, we're going to be talking about this catch forever. There's so many things that happen from that point on. There's just too many things to talk about all the time. Of course, it ended in the super over, and USA's super over was starkly different than Pakistan's. They I think you guys managed to benefit from 6 or 7 extras off of Pakistan
Yeah.
bowling, trying to hit the wide line and missing. And in the meantime, I think you bowled 1 or 2. That big super over that Aaron helped produce, mostly with his feet, helped give you the padding defending that. How did you feel getting the ball right there?
Yeah, so initially, obviously, I didn't know if I'm bowling or not. When we batted, I think it was a good move to send Harmeet in because he's a left-hander. So the wind was going towards the right-hander's leg side, and the offside was a long boundary. So it was a simple plan from both sides. We tried to bowl wide Yorkers to make the batsman hit the offside. So when we had a left-hander in Harmeet, so they had to bowl on his legs, and they missed both times, and both were wide. And in both bites, we got the singles, and I think one we got 2 runs of an overthrow. So those 3-4 runs really mattered, and the batters were very proactive. So kudos to them. We got a boundary on the first ball. That was also great from Jones. I think so. What could have been a 14, 15 run over went on to 19. So that really gives the padding. So that was one thing. The second thing is kudos to the batters in the last over to get it to a super over, because the last 4 overs they bowled really well with reverse swing on offer. And from needing 12 of 3 balls for Jones to then hit that six, and that six was of a longer boundary, that wasn't a short boundary, and it was against the wind. So that was a big shot for him. And then for Nitish to hold his nerve, because he missed a few and then he connected when it mattered. So that was really, I think, great showcase of calmness and a belief in his ability by Nitish. So full kudos to them as well for that. So, and then my super over, when captain and coach told me, plan was actually essentially the same that Muhammad Amir also did. I just had to bowl as close to the wide line as I could. And yeah, I'm grateful that I executed most of the balls. And one thing also of mention was the brilliant catch that Millen took. So that was a forward running catch. It wasn't easy. And when you lose a wicket in the super over, that's high pressure. More importantly, it's a dot ball. So that also made a big difference.
Yeah, that was an excellent catch coming in off the boundary. And that's what I mean when I said everybody on the field helped out. Everybody pushed for that win. And so him running in, catching that, like you said, very difficult catch, but he made it look easy. He's a great fielder, Milland. And obviously, you have a team full of excellent fielders. We saw some very good catches in the World Cup. We saw Ali Khan diving face first and catching one at deep point. We saw Shea Jahangir catching one while running to the boundary and slamming the brakes on with about a foot to spare. Impressive agility there, impressive ability to stop himself. And of course, we saw some excellent efforts from Nitish Kumar and from obviously Steven taking that wonderful catch. The team made big plays throughout the first group stage that they needed to make in order to advance. And that game against Pakistan, I couldn't help but think about, especially that game against Pakistan and the game against Canada. I couldn't help but think about the Bangladesh series. You guys beat Bangladesh two games to one. There was one game in the mix, I think it might have been the first game, where wickets started falling for US in the chase, and Harmeet and Corey turned it on at the end and basically made it look easy at a moment where it looked like it wasn't going to go US's way. How much did that series help you guys for this World Cup, do you think, in big moments like that, to understand that the game wasn't out of your reach when it looked like it was?
Yeah, I think both series, in fact, the Canada series as well, 5 match to win that 5-0. And the Bangladesh series, I think, showed us the depth in our batting, that our all-rounders also could step up. And I think Harmeet has been the find because he gives that balance to your team where he can go out there and start smashing it from ball one, and he plays proper cricket shots. So yeah, the depth of the batting, I think, is the most that I've seen in a USA team that I've played for. So you have that confidence, kind of, even if we lose 2-3 wickets up front, like we have that depth. Number 7, number 8 can also bat.
Now you're from India, obviously. You played U19 for India. You live in the USA. You work for Oracle. It kind of became a meme, like the ideal Indian child, someone who's successful both professionally and with a career, and then with cricket as well. How did you feel about all that attention? Did you pay any attention to that?
Yeah, definitely. I was very overwhelmed, and it was heartwarming to see the outpouring of, firstly, the good wishes and congratulatory messages. Reconnected with people from my school days, my school teachers, my college mates, like high school, who remembered me, or so that was a very great thing to have. Secondly, yeah, I mean, I followed a few of the memes and they were hilarious. It was nice uh, to see how people are so creative. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
We like that it brings attention to the team. It brings attention to you and the USA team and cricket in the USA in general and cricket in general. The fact that because of this meme and because of your performance and the team's performance, so many people got exposed to cricket, maybe for the first time. More people in the US can relate to having an Indian developer teammate at work as someone that they work with who's a contractor, a H-1B or green card or something like that. People can relate to that in the USA more than they can to cricket in general, really, as far as the mainstream American sports fan is concerned. So it was kind of interesting that people could that could be leveraged to bring eyes to the game of cricket. And I'm hoping that leads to more and more fans. I know that I joined a Discord of like 150 or actually 250 brand new cricket fans in the USA who wanted to learn about the game. And they've been having Discord conversations about the game. And I don't think that happens unless the USA team does well. I've said it before. I think your team has pushed cricket ahead with your success in the country, in the USA, 10 years faster than anything else could have possibly done without success at that stage and without an upset victory like that. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about how big this is just for cricket in general? Sure, it's been great for your careers as cricketers, but have you taken time yet to realize just how fantastic what you've done is for the game of cricket in the USA and around the world, possibly?
I mean, yeah, whilst playing, obviously the focus was on the process. But I think when the victory digested, we realized that, yeah, this was pretty big. And it's like sowing a seed of growth of the sport in the country. And after that, we saw so many mainstream media as well, local media pay a lot of attention to it, be curious about it. And I got messages from like local people in my community as well are now aware of what it is. Like when I traveled, I think back to the US, immigration officials also knew that we've come from a World Cup. And so it's good that it's spreading in the local community that an event of this scale has happened and our national team has done reasonably well. And they made it to the Super 8. So it was a big achievement now that I look back at it. And I hope it propels the sport more, and hopefully it goes into schools and universities and people pick it up. Like people might want to pick up a bat, like a cricket bat or a cricket ball. That will be a big win for us.
This World Cup itself, 20 teams, all these associates. I think a lot of times the associates they absolutely get overlooked by cricket fans around the world because full members, bring in the money and they bring in the eyes for the most part. But the growth aspect of cricket lies with the associate nations. We saw amazing fan support from Nepal, which is nobody's surprise if you follow associate cricket. We saw some very good efforts from Scotland, who's a good team. We saw great games from Netherlands. We saw obviously every game Nepal played, they could have won. They played very good games, and unfortunately they didn't beat South Africa that day, but they could have. So just this particular World Cup feels to me like a real World Cup, like maybe the first time cricket's had a real World Cup. How great is this for associate cricket in general, and for the story of associate cricketers? How important is it to you that their stories are told?
I mean, as associate cricketers, we know how good Scotland is, how good Nepal can be, especially in Nepal. So we've seen the quality and we believe in everybody. Like it feels like all the teams are like our people. And we wanted all the associates to do well and fight against the good teams. And we've seen that. I think so many games were so close to being upsets, and we've seen a few upsets as well. And I'm pretty confident like full member nations will start playing more bilateral series with us or with other associates, and we get that exposure so that we build towards being a full member nation. That's the goal ultimately.
Absolutely. And then more and more full member nations come along after you. Hopefully, Nepal, Netherlands, Scotland. These are very good teams. One more thing before I let you go, I just want to talk about one issue that I wanted to let you explain this. So there was an interview that you did where you had mentioned that you were asked if you would because of your ukulele playing, you were asked if it would be an honor for you to sing a Indian anthem at a game, or something like that. Did I read that right? Were you asked that question?
Yes, something about it, yes.
In the interview, you were quoted as saying that you think of India as your home and USA where you work. And there were some USA fans who thought that was kind of not a great thing to say. Is that what you really meant when you said that?
Yeah, so I think it got lost in translation to English. So I said that in Marathi. So that's my language that we speak in Mumbai. So the words that were used were basically Mumbai is my Janma Bhumi. So Janma means birth and Bhumi means place. So Mumbai is my birthplace. So India is my birthplace. And USA is my Karma Bhumi. So karma is everything that you do in life. And Bhumi is the place that I do everything right now is US. So that's what I meant by it. So I live in the US. So my life is in the US. I do all my karma here now. That is my birthplace. So I have respect for both. That's what I meant basically.
Well, that sounds much better. So yeah, we can see how these translations can get misconstrued sometimes, especially you're talking about going across different languages and stuff. So I'm sure people will be happy to hear that clarification. Well, you're playing for the Washington Freedom once again. Your team looks incredibly good. I mean, a very loaded team. Last season, you had a very balanced team. You were able to give everybody a good game. The domestics on your team are fantastic. Yourself, Andres House, Obis Pinar. You got some good youngsters in Akhilesh Badagam, who you played against in that same 2022 minor league finals weekend. And then obviously we have Yasser Muhammad, the young leg spinner from USA, and more. How do you feel about this team? How do you feel about your chances going into Major League Cricket?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I'm going to be joining the team in a few days. I came for a little bit of a break home because it was a long tour at the World Cup. So yeah, I'm really excited. The team looks solid, and looking forward to meet everybody. Especially really looking forward to meet our coach Ricky Ponting. And it's going to be the first time that I'm going to be getting to work with him. So yeah, I mean, everything looks good. Like the team is excited. I think everybody's excited to give their best. Like you said, our locals are also really good. So hopefully we put up a good show. Yeah.
I was just at Church Street Park yesterday. The pitch looks great. The outfield looks amazing. The fans are going to be there in full force for you, probably cheering a lot of. There's a lot of Washington support in Morrisville. There was last year. You'll probably get that in spades again because of yourself, because of Andres, because of all the performances you've done coming right off of a World Cup. Willow TV's showing the games locally there. It's the Monumental Entertainment will carry the games. They do the Wizards, the Capitals, and Mystics. I'm from the DC area myself originally, so I think it's really great that they're showing you guys on the Wizards and the Capitals and Mystics, such basically where they show those teams and other teams. But yeah, I know you're looking forward to maybe getting a stadium there in the future. Well, to definitely getting a stadium in that area in the future. In the meantime, hopefully you can think of Morrisville as your home site.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it holds a special place for me. So looking forward to play in front of the community there. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me, Saurabh. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today, especially now that you're a celebrity.
I'd say I'm the same person, but yeah, thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Well, we know you're the same person. I need to get you to try to. So we need Oracle to sponsor the Big Innings podcast. That's what we need to get. I'll wear it all over my shirt.
Yeah, you can talk to them.
All right. Thanks a lot, Saurabh.